Here we are, punters, back for part 2.
Emerald Hotel.
Emerald Hotel.
Good to be back here.
It is.
Great pub. Racing pub, the unofficial racing pub.
Looking forward to having a steak, 2 DK after this.
Be lovely. Yeah. Had one for a while.
It is a bit of a... I just did a big ratings catch up this morning, DK, and I don't know what it is, but it just seems harder when there's racing on Mondays. I know they were having the extra meeting on Wednesday, so it wasn't really... Less meetings,
no,
but it just feels like there's more meetings now than there was.
There is. I mean, there's 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Thursday, so there's no respite. But the Mondays off were nice. But
yeah, it's just seemed to give that, because it was the clear Monday. It seemed to allow me to catch up on everything and never be sort of chasing the tail.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, you've got to stay on top of the post race. You really do.
Absolutely. I leading into that 3-year-old race on Saturday, I had completely done all the sectionals for the Missouri race at Geelong, but it wasn't good enough, so I sort of just priced it off wolf tone and didn't. And I've gone back and reviewed that race in more depth this morning, and I'm thinking,
see why Hutchie tipped it.
When I said errors,
loves sectionals, Hutchie, mate.
I mean, there was some
sensational sectionals.
Sensational. They were the fastest of the day.
For a staying horse, it was a good effort. I don't care from the rear too.
Yeah,
not as though he's dictating up the front.
So
this is after the race. We're not. It's just, but you can see what we see. What we're saying. We can see why Hutchie tipped it, and we can see why it won.
Absolutely.
Because those horses can, with that talent, can go to another level the next start.
Yeah.
Which is what happened.
Exactly. So on the little video I did last week and the last couple, I've talked a little bit about leakage, and some of the viewers have written back to me just asking a bit more about it.
Yep.
And so I thought I'd just have a bit of a chat about it. So when I'm talking about leakage, I'm not necessarily like, so if you're a huge part of your week is looking forward to betting on Saturday or whatever, and you know you like having a few little exotics or quaddie or whatever, and that's part of your entertainment. That's not, if that's what you're choosing to do, if you're making that decision to have that recreational component to your betting, just accept that that's what it is.
That's right. It's like walking into the casino and you take what you're gonna. I'm going to take me 200 and I'm going to play blackjack and have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to put 200 into the quaddies and whatever every Saturday. Well, that's what you do to have a bit of fun. That's not.
Absolutely.
That's partaking.
So that part of it's just, you know, it's a choice. You're either going to do that or you're not. And I wouldn't. I know what it was like back before I started punting for a living. You know. So I started in 2008. So back in the period prior, I mean, I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to get the most out of it. So I sort of accepted that if I was doing that kind of betting, it was going to have really big ups and downs. It was probably going to be a losing proposition over time. Yeah. And that's not part of it. But then so for me, when I started betting, trying to make a living out of it, I kept those bets separate, and I wasn't strict with monitoring the results of them, but I did keep some kind of a record, and it probably took somewhere between a year and 2 years to boot it completely out of me. And I haven't had a quaddie, a trifecta, anything of that nature really. Yeah. The one thing I do have every now and again, I haven't probably in the last year or two, but at one time when I toyed with these Quinellas, I was like, it's a bit, you can make pretty accurate predictions of what the dividends are going to be with Quinellas, but, and stake accordingly. But yeah, so I guess the point I'm trying to make is it took me a year or two to get all that out of my game, and I don't have any money disappearing in that regard because I just don't want to give $1 away easily. So
well, you really are the poster boy for that concise plan of bets that you know you're going to have by 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning, and you stick to it. And that's what I've got to get better at that. But that's one thing I can say. You know what bets you're having, before the meeting.
Yeah. That's
what you're having and have them. You know, because the ones that, and Mark Roden, who's read on the show, Mark, who I used to work with at Sports, we did a fantastic podcast with Jake.
Yep.
I don't know if you haven't, it's one of the most recent ones on Betting Pod. He spoke about leakage in that the ones that you've marked 10s and there's 6s, and then in the last 5 minutes on Betfair they're expressed to 15s and 16s, and you're having your 100s or your whatever, because you've got to be on them because they're over the mark price, and the odds of them, you know, they rarely win. Yeah. Those express, that's leakage. Yeah. You know, so he said he ironed that out of his things. He just sticks to those ones planned bets already, you know, and things like that. So I think that classifies as leakage, and obviously marginal races. Yeah, it's probably what you with your leakage. Sometimes when you think you've leaked,
definitely,
you know,
absolutely. I often look back and say I just shouldn't have been involved in that race. It's just too marginal. So I mean, the reason I have it that planned DKA is to really manage any kind of leakage. So then to me, it's really about, these are the horses I want to back. It's really about when am I going to back them, at what point in the market am I going to back them, and that's so when it gets past the analysis stage and you're just into, you know, finalising your positions on all those races, it really just gets about timing your bets
and timing, and that's not with me. It's, I mean, I'm transitioning and still a transition period. You know, I'm trying to get more and more over to Betfair, to bet later and later, and to have, as we spoke about, and it's anonymous. No one knows what you're backing, but there's also, you want to head the robots off. What can I head the robots off and the fixed odds? What do they like that I've liked? And are they going to, you know, so fixed odds in that, and then gather all the market intelligence and use that when you're betting later, either top up your positions or, so good, they've backed that and that means that's going to get out, I'll wait and back it late, things like that. So I think that's catching, but I think mainly fixed odds for me at the moment is to try and get a head start on the robots.
Yeah.
You know?
And the other point of having a plan and limit and, you know, keeping any leakage to an absolute minimum is not getting to the last race and thinking, right, I need to double or triple my bet here.
So right, mate. So right. And it's, I go back. I mean, I'm not drinking the pot's Kool-Aid or anything, but with your, you know, I'm going through a quiet period, and what you say about two things are standing your process and having that sticking to your bets.
Yeah.
And if I deviate from that, that's when I'm vulnerable. You know, then I go back to it, and it holds you in good stead.
Yeah.
You know, so got to stick to what you're doing, ride the variance if it's there, and know your bets. Don't impulse bet or chase or, oh, it's getting out, I better have something on it and have something on it, because one might win and say, oh, thank Christ I did it, but over time you won't be winning at it. You know, you're better off putting it over there in the bin.
Yeah. No, I think that's right. So I hope that answers the questions of the guys that wrote in. Just want to have a bit of a chat about winter. I had one guy email me, Jared, asking a little bit about winter and strategies and everything. So the first thing I'll say, Jared, is that with winter you've got to be this is particularly relevant to Victoria. I think as winter develops, you almost get three different circuits. So you've got like the provincial country circuit, where the tracks, once they get wet, they tend to stay wet, and it's just a matter of whether it's just a slow sort of testing track, or if it rains on a day, it can get very sloppy and really heavy and dangerous betting conditions.
Yep.
Where it's just, you know, it's all about which horses handle it or which horses are fit. Nothing else, doesn't really matter. How much talent they've got almost. Then you've got the synthetic circuit, and then you've got the city circuit, where the city tracks, last year we barely had a track at particularly Flemington and Caulfield through the winter season that was worse than a 5. And the only time that ever happens is if it actually rains during the day. So that form coming from that provincial country circuit doesn't translate at all. You just got to be very careful with how you use it. So you've got to make those adjustments, and almost that synthetic form coming from both Pakenham and Geelong can be more useful than that country form if it's coming to the city. You know, which
we didn't think it used to be the other way. It used to be sort of vulnerable, you know, because they hadn't had that hard hit out on the testing surface. So you think they might be a bit vulnerable up in grade and into town. But
we've seen even recently, like Mr. Monaco on Saturday, that synthetic form is dangerous coming to town.
Yeah.
You're disregarded at your peril.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think you can.
No, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky, but everything's got to be treated on its merits.
Yeah.
But also on the on the wet tracks, you're looking for fitness, and fitness comes from fast races, in my opinion. Yeah. So they hold your horses in good stead. You know, if they've done some work.
Yeah.
And coming off slow paces and things, and they can be vulnerable. So that's what I've been. So first few wet tracks, few weeks of wet tracks, I've sort of noticed. You know.
A lot of the clever trainers will go up in distance, get them in a fast race, and then drop them back in distance, and that's really effective on testing conditions. So something I look for, but you know, you've got to pick and choose your marks.
Got to pick and choose back in distance because they've got to be. Yeah.
And I didn't mention Moonee Valley and Sandown on that when I was going through, because they can just depend with those tracks. They can fall in the middle. Sandown gets a lot of work over winter, and it will often range in what we used to consider the old-fashioned dead slow range. You know, it'll once it gets wet and it's always so cold out at Sandown, it just doesn't get a chance to dry. So it'll race in that somewhere in the middle. And Moonee Valley can just depend on when the weather falls. So they don't have a huge amount of meetings at Moonee Valley over the winter, but we've got one coming up this Saturday.
Oh, have you? Moonee Valley?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
The good part about Moonee Valley is it's been in, ever since they had that root issue back like almost 18 months, 2 years ago now, it's been in great health and particularly off a break it races well. So I think I'm quite looking forward to the meeting there on Saturday. So.
That'll be something different. That'll work good.
So anyway, that's a few winter strategies. I was doing that catch up this morning. I was just looking at horses to follow. Okay, one that caught my eye because it's a 2-year-old and they've been sort of fairly moderate, but geez, that Anjana's a nice looking horse.
Yeah.
Weird 2-year-old.
Yep.
One at big odds on debut at Wangarella, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were both unfancied in that race. They ran first, second. He actually tried the trifecta in that race Weir, which is. I mean, just I was saying to my mum and dad last week about Darren Weir, so much times have changed. He never used to go to Wangarella. Yeah. You know, he never used to go that part, and then he's got 3 horses in a 1,000-metre maiden, and he doesn't put many horses in 1,000-metre maidens, unless they're just real sharp sprinters. Like he'd rather kick them off and get them up in distance. So here he's got 3 and ran the trifecta, and they ran good figures, but it's 1,000 metres, so you've got to weigh it up. But for a 1,000-metre race, they said, well, Darren Weir was, so they're going to improve up in distance. So it was just a starting point.
Yep.
And then it got to that wet track. I mean, these horses are dynamite from inside draws at Ballarat. Weir horses, just dynamite. Yeah. So it's just free flow. I haven't seen the replay, but I assume it just free flowed up the inside and just travelled.
Yeah, sat in the box seat. The leader got off, went out to sort of lane 4 or 5 as they straightened up. It just went up underneath it and it just exploded over the last 200. And I mean, as we discussed in part 1. You've got to be very careful with the figures out of Ballarat, but there were comparable races on the day. She's run really good figures, and I would say if they find other 2-year-old races for her, good luck beating her on testing tracks. If she got,
she's a grey. She's a grey in the wet. Moral.
She found a good track in town. It could be interesting.
And the second and third horse, Farthing Wood ran second to a nice horse, and they've run good figures on Saturday at Werribee, it's a Friday, and Asira, who ran third, come out and won the next race. Yeah. From those 3 Weir improvers out of that Wangarella race. So, Weir improvers, we like them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's a nice horse.
Have you any off the top of your head?
Lime Kilns, obviously, I said. And I mean, you'd like to say Pepino out of that race, but who knows what circumstances he'll find himself in. So I'm not going to say he's awesome because I don't know how he's none from 11 or something.
Yeah, he's a chinky horse and that could bust him. So
it's like Sunquest. I mean, I'm not putting train, but Steve Richards. How's Sunquest not run a race? How's Pepino not won a race? Nigel Blackerson took 11 starts to win an Indrabila race. I mean, it just anyway they've got the talent, but somehow they just find themselves in circumstances because their profile and more so their mapping. Yeah. You know, their manners and races that they don't. So Weir knocks that out of them at the jump outs. Yeah. You know.
That's part of the point I was making last week. He wouldn't have taken Miss Leonidas to the races knowing that she's just going to over-race and pull us off, like just throw her head in the ground and go mad at a normal race tempo. He would have got it out of her before he took it to the races, really. He's
got a maiden called Cradle, right? He's in its second prep or something. I reckon it had 6 or 7 jump outs. Then it went to the races, had 1 start and sort of didn't, it was okay, but and I think he's had another 4 jump outs since. So it's actually had 10 jump outs this time, you know, and the 1 race start. But he's just obviously got a plan and he's knocking something out of it, whatever it is. So it's not going to the races. So
it's not hard and fast because he's got one that went around in Adelaide on Saturday. I can't think of his name.
Ancient Echoes.
Ancient Echoes.
Exactly right.
So he
probably plays in all the time. So
he's trying to straighten it out with
racing. I don't know what it is.
Anyway, punters. So this week ahead, Sale on Wednesday, and as I said, Moonee Valley on Saturday. What have you got, DK?
Yeah, got. What do we got? Synthetic tomorrow, something, and Sale. Was it Sale Wednesday? You said Sale. Yeah, Pakenham Thursday. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll get something out of it. That'll do us. Cheers, punters.
All the best.